Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of The Gavel, featuring attorney Anna Toledo. Ms. Toledo is the senior attorney and general counsel to Targeted Justice. She has a background in constitutional and environmental law and is an experienced litigator, including 2 cases at the U.S. Supreme Court. And here's Ms. Toledo.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode number 31 of The Gavel, a podcast dedicated to bringing you the latest news on our quest for freedom and ending government weaponization. I'm your host, Anna Toledo, and for those of you that don't know me, I'm an attorney with 30 years experience, born and raised in Puerto Rico, came to Houston, Texas to fight to shut down the criminal unacknowledged special access program that has taken so much from all of us. I am currently in Washington, D.C., and I have good news to bring you today in this quest for freedom. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. As you know, we are victims of censorship and shadow banning. Today, in Targeted Justice X account and in Substack, 2 important articles were published. I urged you to tag your congressman or woman and or senator in each one of those. We need them to be informed of what the intelligence community is hiding from them, and we are ready to explain to them. So before I go into the news for this week, I want to share with you I know I've shared it before, and it's the one that part of it I have in my emails, which it's a Bible verse found in I'll say it in Spanish, Isaiah 54:17, and it reads like this: "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is from me, says the Lord." Oh, I get so emotional with it because all of us are testament to the fact that even though military grade weaponry is fired against us every day, we are still standing and we are fighting back against the criminality that has been perpetrated against all of us. So, you know, I really like this. I really like this verse, and I hope you do too. Let's go for the please, yes, share and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. We have to, those things that don't cost you anything, it's just easy to do. Be generous with them because it does a lot. Maybe the repost you do gets to the cousin of Rand Paul, okay? And we need to get to him. We'll talk about that later. Okay, the first thing I want to bring to you is show you laugh because it's so hilarious. This perp getting caught was, I think it's, bad karma, but also the reason why I bring it to you is the following, because little by little, the truth is coming out. Okay. And look at this. So that person was doing a DoorDash delivery in Indiana. And the driver, they say, can face charges for food or product tampering. But I would go even further. I would go for poisoning, which is a felony, and not necessarily like a misdemeanor. The victim was the wife of a man named Mark Cardan. After she ate the food, she started coughing and gasping to the point of throwing up. How many of you know? It sounds so awfully familiar, right? Well, then she decided to check the camera, and that's when she found the criminal lacing the bag with some unknown substance, which I hope they already got it evaluated because it was in the bag. So the sheriffs will say that they will investigate, but of course, just like we know that a lot of sheriff departments are involved, heavily involved in this criminal program, I don't see much from it. I certainly hope that Mr. Cardan sues DoorDash and gets to depose that criminal. And if anybody knows this man, please write to him and tell him maybe you or your wife are a targeted person. And this is the line of questioning you want to follow. I would certainly try to find this man and tell him, because this would be one great way for him to find out, go down the rabbit hole of the criminals at the HS, that it's still happening. I think Christy Noem, the agency, is so huge and she's so focused on shutting, on getting rid of the illegal aliens, that she has not had time to deal with the criminals at the Division of Intelligence in her office. However, from last week, we learned that she's been cutting the counterterrorism budgets of places like New Jersey, where I know for a fact it's like a behemoth. It's some criminality out of the charts. So yeah, that happened to Mr. Cardan's wife. My advice to you is, if you can avoid getting food delivery, avoid it, because you're just setting yourself, just like if you're going to go eat, go to places where you can choose the food. And I was telling this advice to somebody because this happened to me, okay? For those of you that like to eat in Chipotle, first of all, eat from a bowl. I'm sorry, this is not part of the news. This is just tips I need to give you. Eat from the bowl and not with the gloves, because when they put those gloves on, you don't know where they got them from. Just make sure you choose the food. Don't let them give you a bag of chips from under the register. Ask for a bag of chips, the ones that are, you say, no, I want the third one. You choose your food. That is one way to minimize your poisoning, because we know that these criminals are out of control. So now a grand jury has indicted John Bolton. And John Bolton, I want to show you. So they had already raided his house a long time before, right? And so, everybody knew it was coming, right? So the thing with him is that he had some secret, classified information in his house. He took it to his house. He took it to his office. He did exactly, but much worse, what they accused Trump of doing, which it turned out that it was all bogus. And I'm going to talk about that a little later. Well, he really did it. He really did it. He took classified material and had it just there in unsafe area environment. And he shared diary notes with family members, even after his email account was reportedly hacked by Iran. Now, why do we want him locked up? I'll tell you a little story about him, just so that when anybody talks about, let's take the United States to the International Criminal Court. Well, this is what Mr. Bolton did. Bill Clinton had signed the treaty to be part of the International Criminal Court. But this is the kind of thing Bill Clinton does. Oh, yeah, I'm so good. I signed the treaty. But he didn't ask the Senate to ratify it. So when John Bolton, he signed it in the year 2000, but never asked the Senate to ratify it. As you know, as the Targeted Justice newsletter has been telling you, all of these bogus illegal treaties by DHS and FBI, and the little man, Charles Cable, that he went around getting treaties done, well, they're illegal. They have not been ratified by the Senate. So this treaty was not ratified. But then John Bolton came in 2002 in preparation of all the crimes against humanity that we all know happened. And he formally distanced the U.S. from the International Criminal Court during the George Bush administration, because he was the national security advisor under Bush. In May, George W. Bush. In May 2002, as Undersecretary of State for Arms Control and International Security, I stand corrected, Bolton sent a letter to the United Nations formally notifying it that the U.S. had no intention of ratifying the Rome Statute, which is that treaty, and thus had no legal obligations arising from its prior signature by Bill Clinton. This act is commonly referred to as the unsigning of the treaty, effectively revoking the signature and relieving the United States of any interim obligations under the Vienna Convention on the laws of treaties. Okay? It was a declaration of non-intent to join. So whenever somebody talks to you about, let's go to the International Criminal Court, no, that cannot happen, as much as we'd love that, because Bill Clinton never asked the Senate to ratify his signature on the treaty, and then the criminal John Bolton withdrew all support for it. Okay, so now this week also, this is a little, it's sad, but it's interesting, and it's like I tell you all the time, let's connect the dots. Okay, let's connect the dots here. Rob Reiner, I hope I'm
good.
I am pronouncing it well, and if not, you excuse me, because Spanish language, even though somebody said that I had a fake accent. Okay. He was murdered supposedly by his son that stabbed him and his wife. But I want you to see the beginning of this video, which was an interview he conducted and published in 2018.
Either person can sit at either place.
Either place?
Whatever's good for you.
I don't think either one of us has a good side.
You don't
so
have
it
a
doesn't
good
matter.
side, it doesn't
We're
matter.
both bad sides.
All right, me too. We're both of the follically challenged. So thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. And the thing that to me is so frustrating is that this cataclysmic thing happened to our country, and people don't seem to understand it, understand the gravity of it. And, you guys were talking about how, it's unusual for people who have been, how many years experience do you have between you, would you say?
Well, Jim has several hundred, I think.
Probably 80 or 90
Yeah,
between the two of us.
So here you are with all that experience. Have you ever seen anything like this happen in this country? I mean, anything like this kind of attack on our political system?
Well, no, not at least to me, as disturbing as this. I'm a Vietnam War veteran. I went through all the stresses that in the aftermath of the Vietnam War, but I never felt even then that our fundamental institutions were jeopardized. In fact, our fundamental.
Okay, so these two criminals, I think, will soon face justice too. And what is important about this video, it was filmed in February 7th, 2018. Remember, Trump won in November of 2016. And Rob Reiner had like a massive Trump derangement syndrome. So it was conducted by him as part of a committee to investigate Russia's efforts to highlight Russian interference in in 2016 election. So here, being the conspiracy theories that I have come to become after being targeted, this discussion focused on the national security concerns from Clapper, former director of national intelligence, and Brennan, former CIA director, including their reactions to Russian election meddling. Well, now that it has been known that the whole thing was a hoax, the whole Russia thing not only was a hoax, but Obama, Hillary, and everybody was in there trying to frame and impeach President Trump with fake information. Well, I'm saying, well, maybe the CIA is trying to clean up because they know the inevitable is coming. Their exposure. Remember, when I bring you news, it's not because spread Trump or no. It's because we want to expose the CIA criminals. And I'm wondering if they mind controlled his son to do the most horrific act of murdering their parents and making it seem like, oh, he was just a drug addict. I'm wondering, because clearly many people are talking and are saying, well, was Rob Reiner a CIA asset? We don't know. But maybe that's why they could have mind controlled his son so that the truth is never known in that sense. I don't know. I'll just say stay away from drugs, because it's the one way, surefire way for the criminals to enter into your brain. Notice how the light in the screen goes on and off. That's the criminals messing with it. I tried to use the phone, but they would not let me put the screen in the back. So sorry for that turning on and off. It's the criminals. Okay. Now, next news, and this, it's not like it has to do with targeting, but it does. And it is that Mr. Bongino is resigning and leaving his post as of January. I think that the swamp got the best of him. Maybe he's frustrated that he couldn't carry out what he set out to do. Or maybe he just wants to be able to sleep at night and not be badgered by everybody for not being able to do what maybe he set out to do. Whatever the reason it is, we have to see who his substitute is going to be. And let's hope it's not a deep state criminal, because we're going to be on it. We're going to be looking out for that. Anyways, that's a shame, but he didn't. I mean, I don't see that he did much. Just like Bondi, if it's like Tulsi has given her tons of evidence. Everybody has given her tons of evidence, and we don't know what she's doing. She's getting her nails done, her hair done. We don't know, but she's certainly not arresting the bad guys, and that's bad. Anyways, former military exposed to Lara Logan that most crooked are the Inspector General. The figure of Inspector General, they're supposed to watch out for agency integrity. And the experience we've had at Targeted Justice is that Horowitz, the Inspector General of the Department of Justice, which covers the FBI, well, in 2007, he did the last audit report, 2007, almost 19 years ago, of the Terrorist Screening Center. And the conclusions were horrific, which would tell you that in the next year or 2 years later, he will do a follow-up audit, because what he found was horrible. Basically, 97% of the people on the terrorist screening database had no known ties to terrorism. That's pretty bad. Yet he never again revisited auditing the Terrorist Screening Center. In 2008, they did audit report 08-16 on the watch listing practices. They put in there tons of horrible things that they found, most important of which is that the FBI field offices, they just send the nominations just like that, without complying with agency regulation. That is how you and me have been placed on this list, the ones in America, because the ones outside of America, they rely on the legal attaches that the FBI has in all of these agencies, and they don't even bother to check if your nomination is based on fact, because they were so hungry, so money hungry, to put more people on the list so that they could get more budget and more bonuses, right? They didn't care what they were doing to us. So Horowitz, who is the DOJ IG, he's not concerned with that, the illegalities. He's not even concerned with the illegalities that the FBI is doing with the FISA applications. He doesn't care to audit how many times they renew the same FISA application on a person, even though there's no criminal predicate. no reasonable suspicion, and they have renewed it 15 times without filing a single charge against the person. He doesn't care because he's happy-go-lucky getting his salary. So I urge you, I put the link, I urge you all to watch this Lara Logan interview. The good thing for us is that this is a high-ranking military guy who has credibility, and he has filed a lawsuit. And anything that exposes the criminality of the deep state, as he clearly says, the inspector generals is a mafia, it's a cadre of deep state. Well, this is good for us because that is what we are fighting. Remember, this criminal program was set up by the deep state to punish anyone who did not obey, anyone that threatened their whole order, okay, one world order. Now, so I put the link on the Rumble, but for those of you that don't have it, I'm putting it here. Just make sure you go see Laura. It's a long interview, but it's well worth it. She's a good person to follow. I really think she's targeted, but she doesn't. She's in handling code 4. She doesn't know it. Now, Senator Grassley continues to declassify documents, and that's great because even though he does not seem to care about our plight, and the reason I tell you is because I've been to his office many times asking for appointment, and he just will not give it to me. But it doesn't matter because he exposed the prohibited access files, and that helps us. The restricted access files. Now he is exposing, and let me show you that Merrick Garland, who in my personal opinion is a criminal, and I am entitled to have an opinion, well, he didn't have probable cause for the Mar-a-Lago case, the raid against Donald J. Trump when he was no longer president. He went in camera and he told everybody that there was probable cause. Well, guess what? Chuck Grassley just found out that he was lying. And that's huge because not only is Mr. Garland in trouble, but Mr. Ray too. And believe you me, that will be a great day, the day that Mr. Ray, for whatever reason, not necessarily for keeping this program, maintaining it and keeping it secret and covert, for whatever reason, I don't care, that he gets indicted, that'll be a good day. Because you know what? When you do bad things, they eventually catch up with you. That's why you always have to act. I want to talk about it towards the end. You do what's right. You know it in your gut. You know what the right thing to do is. There is no profit. There is no fame. There is no reason that should compel you to act against what's right. It's pretty black and white most of the time. Anyway, so that's good news. As long as the deep state actors are exposed and prosecuted, then again, we're relying on Pam Bondi. Chuck Grassley can continue to expose everything, but she's twiddling her thumbs. Anyway, let's go for our privacy acts. I want every single one of you by December 31st of this year to have filed your privacy act request. Remember, it's not a FOIA request. It's a privacy act request demanding access to see your files under the control of the agency. The agency cannot tell you what files they're going to show you because the statute doesn't give them that authority under the Supreme Court decision, Loper Bright Enterprises versus Raimondo. It's not up to the FBI or for DOJ to decide, no, we're going to only look here. No. The statute says all agency files on you. So this week I fixed in targeted justice legal, you can see a sample of the Privacy Act request. And Jill suggested that we add, I am an American citizen, because they might, they're going to look for every excuse under the sky to not answer it. And for those of you from Europe that have a right to the Privacy Act, you say, I am a European citizen covered under the act that gives me the right to file a Privacy Act request. Now, the one that you had not, that I had not talked about, I had mentioned it, but I really want you to file it, because what we want to do is these corporations that have been colluding with they have been colluding with the FBI to report on you. They are in an agency called dsac.gov. And the reason you want to file this is not a law enforcement agency. This is a private partnership, but it's an agency. It's a .gov. So file your report with them, your Privacy Act request with them, because these are the people, these are the 800 corporations that whenever they have an interaction with you, for example, Uber, for example, the alarm company, for example, any of these big corporations, FedEx, UPS, that they tamper with our mail. They do a little report and they upload it through their portal. Well, you ask for any and all files on you to this agency. Let's flood their inbox, because they have an obligation. If they are an agency of the United States of America, they have an obligation under 5 U.S. Code 552A to let you see the files they have on you. So don't forget this, as well as TSA. Those of you that have traveled since you have been targeted, remember to demand from TSA your Privacy Act request, which they cannot deny because they gave Tulsi Gabbard all of the times they followed her around under the quiet skies. They cannot deny yours, because that would be a violation of the equal protection under the law. It would be discrimination. So let's just keep the pressure, because they have nowhere to run. They have nowhere to escape. With the declassification of documents by Chuck Grassley, I find it very hard that the FBI will tell a court of law that they get to decide where they look for your files, when the Privacy Act does not say that they get to decide. Now, I'm going to talk to you about the DC updates. Yesterday and today, I was very active, and I just walking everywhere, up and down, and seeing people. And of course, I had criminals follow me around, with a camera. But yesterday, one of the things I did was I went to, which I made a little reel, and I asked people, I asked people from Arkansas to write to Tom Cotton. Tom Cotton is the chairman of the Senate Select Intelligence Committee, which is the committee that followed the steps of the church committee. And they are supposed to investigate the abuses by the intelligence community. And I think he's not interested. I've been to his office 4 times. And I just need all of you Arkansas peeps to write to him and say, I am formally requesting that you meet with Ana Toledo. So one of the things that they did yesterday, since they wanted to get rid of me, was that some man he said, my name is JC. Well, JC said, oh, go to the intelligence office in the Senate building in Hart 219. Go there. So I went there. And I brought with me the 15 affidavits of my 15 civilians that have been diagnosed with Havana syndrome. And I knocked on the door. It doesn't even have a sign out there. Like you're not supposed to know it's there. And I said, you know what? So when somebody came out, I'm like, look, I need to talk to you. And I gave her, and I said, this is confidential information and you have to treat it as such. But civilians are victims of Havana syndrome in this country, living here. They are being attacked, and you need to open an investigation. And here's my contact information. And I hope you get to me. Today they had a meeting at 3 p.m., so it was very opportune. Anyways, what I want you to do, for those of you, check this out, and tell me which ones of you are in these places. These are the members of that committee. Remember, church committee was the committee that exposed MK Ultra. And the reason they maintained this committee was to prevent another MK Ultra to happen, which we all know it never ended. So look at these people in this list. If you belong to their district, to their state, because these are senators, to their state, please, I need you to write to demand a meeting. And I put the text, it's in Rumble, and it's in the notes, the show notes. You can just copy and paste it. And it says like this: on December 16, 2025, Attorney Ana Toledo from Targeted Justice delivered 15 affidavits of civilians diagnosed with Havana syndrome. She has visited Senator Tom Cotton on 4 occasions, and he refuses to honor his responsibility to open an investigation into the abuses by the intelligence community. Please meet with her. She provided her contact information to the committee representative that received the documents. It's that simple. You copy, you paste. I wouldn't bother with John Cronin because he's not only a rhino, I think he's a CIA asset. He's the one that kicked me out of his office when I was there with Dr. Priester. And the other one, Mark Kelly, he's, just like that too. I think those two would be a waste of time. But the other people you might want to try, especially Tom Cotton, because he's the chairman. And he has an obligation to investigate the abuses of the intelligence community. If not, you know what we can tell him? You now know. You now know, and you covered it up. Now, I hope you got that. If not, you can just go in the bottom. It says it's senate.intelligence.gov. Okay. So today I went out today again, and the criminals, they're blocking. They block everything I searched for. Like Grok gave me the wrong information about the hearings that were being held today. But you know why it's exploded in the face? Because it turned out it was great that I had gone to the wrong, it was in the same committee, the House Judiciary Committee, because I got to talk to some senators and give them my card and my information and say, please, I need to speak to you about the weaponization of government and the watch listing of innocent Americans, right? So it's like Wile E. Coyote. These criminals, they continue doing their stupid shenanigans, hacking Grok, hacking everything, but it always explodes in their face. Criminals, no weapon shall prosper against me. You still don't get it. You still do not get that anytime you put your foot so that I fall, I end up doing 3 turns and I stand on my feet and I look better than you because you look like the criminals you are. Anyways, so instead of listening to the hearing I wanted to listen to, which was on unvetted Afghan migrants, I got to go to a hearing on temporary asylum immigrants. And even though I was being severely gang stalked, I had they put a little boy behind me kicking my chair, and my kidneys were being pummeled very badly. It was so worth it. And I'm so happy I have my zapper after I'm done today. I just sat myself, and guess what, criminals? The gift cards you paid today, wasted money. So I'm learning a lot about the dynamics and about their priorities. And in that hearing, I got to talk to two representatives. In the morning, I had talked to another really good one. And in the hall, I talked to another one. So then my mantra is this: now they know. Now they know. Now they know. And once you know, you can't ignore it. I also visited the Space Force liaison and the liaison for the veterans. And I told them about our star veteran, Major P, who I said, I have here affidavits. I cannot leave them with you, but you need to advocate for veterans because there's a ton of them that are targeted and the government's not doing anything about it. So that was, to me, it was a great day, even though the criminals tried to ruin it. They only made it better. They still don't learn. Anyways, so that's the end of it for today. Subscribe to my Substack because you don't want to miss a beat. You don't want to miss. I'm writing really good stuff, really inspiring stuff, because one of my goals is for you to feel as enthused and encouraged as I am that we're going to be free. I wouldn't lie to you. I am convinced we will. And that's why I need you in this fight, because I can't do it by myself. I need you to be a warrior. I need you to write to your representative. I need them calling me, telling me, I want to meet with you. And so I'm going to just leave you with this little story. When my son was little, I would read him all the time, very dramatically. Oh, the places you'll go. That was one of his favorite books. And because I wanted to instill in him that there was nothing he couldn't accomplish, absolutely nothing. And there was, in the beginning, there was a part that said, you can always choose to go left or right. And in the context of this that we are living, there's always, in the choices you make, there's always a choice that gets you closer to shutting down the program and one that does not. Let me just give you an example. For example, taking drugs. If you choose to take drugs, that's one that doesn't get you closer to shutting down the program, because that you allow them, you open portals for them. I'm not being Miss Prudish here. I'm just telling you for your well-being. Another thing that is the right or the left, what helps me shut down this program or what doesn't help me? Repeating your V2K. Every time you repeat your V2K, you are empowering the criminals for two reasons. First, because you're allowing them to exert more mind control over you. And second, because you're letting the world know that you're delusional. Because when you repeat what these criminals whisper to your skull, you do not sound logical. It might sound logical to you, but it doesn't to the rest of the world. And I'm telling you that, with my heart in my hand. I'm not doing it maliciously. I am doing it so that you can be a warrior in this battle against these criminals that have taken so much from you. So whenever you are faced with a decision, just think, okay, does this work towards shutting down the program, or does this empower the criminals more? Even little things, okay? And you watch how you get to empower yourself more and more. Okay, so that's just what I wanted to share, that there are great places where we can go, and we're going to get there. But we all need to row in the same direction. And whenever you don't choose the right choice, that is rowing against the current. And we don't want that. Okay. So anyways, please remember, subscribe to my Substack, anatoledo.substack.com. I still have my ongoing, and I need your support. And I thank those of you that have supported me. givesandgo.com/Toledo. And obviously, read and share the targeted justice content, because that is one of the ways that we can help expose the criminality of this program. Thank you so much for being here. This is, the highlight of my week. I prepare it with a lot of love, and I hope to see you next week. Thank you.